My Jessie. Morning, October 17th, 2022. My eyes go dizzy trying to follow a white wisp on the side of the track. I imagine it to be a shoe, laces flopped over tongue, tangled in a web of mud, twigs and leaves, the amber kiss of an autumn morning holding it in a tight cuddle. How I'd envy that shoe. The train jerks my arm off the window, throwing my elbow into the wall. Ouch! I assess the damage, the red rush of blood finding its way to the skin. I touch it softly and wince. It's only a bump, but it'll bruise. Who knew trains could be so violent? I yawn as the sun decides to show me its face. It's a tremendous yawn, would be the envy of any Tyrannosaurus saw. The man in the seat opposite yawns too. He was watching me, the creep. I place my arm back on the window and push my hand against my chin, watching the world fly by. We approach a familiar row of houses, all the gardens caked in oranges, yellows, reds and browns. In my mind I see the shape of a rake lay beside a worn wooden bench, its claws facing away from the ground. I imagine what would happen if someone were to walk into it. His house comes into view and I duck. It's a ridiculous thing to do. He can't see me. The man in front of me can. He's still bloody watching. Is there a problem? I ask with a look as I pop open my energy drink, savouring the hisses it makes. Who needs an alarm clock? I follow his gaze down to my top. Of course it's on backwards. 16 years old and I can't even dress myself. I place my drink down on the seat next to me and pull my sleeves off my arms, one at a time, before swiveling my shirt round the right way. I'm a master of quick changes, so the guy doesn't see anything, and yet I've never seen someone look more aghast. I grab for my drink, ecstatic to have the cold touch of a can back in my hand where it belongs, and smirk at the guy as my actual attention focuses back on the world outside. I see we've long passed Jessie's house. No. I get up and run back through the carriage, staring through every window trying to catch a glimpse, but I'm too late. Defeated, I head back to my seat and see the contents of my can in a puddle on the ground where I knocked it over in my haste. I go to pick it up, but the idea of the sticky liquid all over my skin puts me off. I feel the man judging me for this decision, but I don't care. Nothing matters now I've missed my Jessie. I spend the rest of the journey in silence with my head resting against the wall, earphones in, eyes closed. Jessie's blurred face dances through my thoughts. My sketchbook is itching to be freed from my bag, but for the first time in weeks I leave it there. Without my muse, there's nothing to sketch. My only hope is that I catch him tomorrow, and then finally get his face right. Afternoon, October 17th, 2022. Cam is doing that thing again, analysing everything about me, from my posture to my avoidance of eye contact, showing the end of her pen as she contemplates what unnecessary detail of my past she wants to drag up kicking and screaming next. Your father, she points her pen towards me. What about him? I look at the clock above her head ticking away, 14 more minutes of this mandatory torture. You said last week he has a new baby? Have you met her yet? She tilts her head and leans her body into the arm of her chair. It's likely an attempt to put me at ease, but all it does is stress me out even more. Everything in Camland is sunshine and rainbows. She's even wearing her signature pastel pink hijab. I hate pink. Except when Jessie wears his pink button-up with the cuff sleeve showing off his forearms to me. Rain? Cam snaps me back into the room. No, I haven't met the little worm. I hiss, maybe a little too harshly. Worm? She raises her eyebrows, scribbling the word down in her characterless notebook, which doesn't suit her one bit. 12 minutes left. What do you think of your new stepmother? Not much. What else am I supposed to do? Sing her praises? You know... Cam places her notebook on her lap and leans back into her chair. I had a stepmother myself. Fascinating. I thought she was the worst woman in the world at first until you got to know her. Until I got to know her exactly. Look, I can see you don't want to be here. I won't take any offence to that. But I do want to give you some homework. She can't be serious. Homework? I want you to spend some time with your new sister. I'm sure she would love nothing more than to grow up with an older sibling. I shake my head and pull myself up from my chair. Nope. Sorry, Cam, but it's not happening. I won't want anything to do with that creature or her mother. I throw my satchel over my shoulder and head for the door. Well, I can't force you, Rain, but at least think about it. I don't want you to regret anything. Thank you, Cam. You've been a great help, as always. I rush out the door before she can say anything else. I know she means well, but I've heard all this before. Mum is always going on about it, giving them a shot, and they're not bad people, but they're both wrong. Good people don't cheat on their wives if they're chiropractor, and they certainly don't replace one child for the newest model. Morning, October 18th, 2022. The door to the fourth carriage materialises in front of me. I squeeze past an absent-minded mother half-heartedly coaxing her nervous toddler onto the train. I bet she wishes she could have just leave her on the platform. I think I would. I'm not cut out to be a parent, but if Jessie wants kids, I'm not going to say no. I find my seat and follow my routine with no disruptions. The man from yesterday isn't here, just me, the window, my drink and my satchel. I pull my sketchbook out in advance. This time I won't miss him. If I do nothing else today, at least I'll get to sketch him for the 100th time. Flipping through my sketches, I'm half tempted to tear them all out. Each one is a disaster and a waste of ink. I've got his body shape down to a T, but his face, that face of Adonis, always escapes me. I've tried patching it together with just my imagination, but imagination is crap. Why did I even bother taking art if I can't even get a sketch right? Lexi is always trying to encourage me, telling me to believe in myself because I'm better than I think I am, but just like my mum and Cam, she's full of misguided affirmation. I know I'm rubbish. The only thing keeping me going is the goal of getting Jessie's sketch right. What would I do if I saw him in person? Would I show him his sketch? Would I kiss him on the spot or bury my face deep into his pecs? How would I introduce myself? Hi dude, no. Bro, no. Mate, ugh. Hey, I'm Rain. My pronouns are they, them. I'm 16 years old. Should I mention my age? Maybe I should lie and say I'm 18. People do it all the time. I think I could pass for 18. My thoughts distract me long enough to miss my father's house, but my clarity comes back just in time to catch my Jessie in his garden. It's freezing out, but he's topless for me, in his olive green PJ bottoms. My hand thrusts towards my pencil, and the graphite makes quick work of painting the familiar shape. He's gone too quickly to register his face, story of my life, so I leave his face blank and focus on his abs. My fingers meet the paper and my brain swaps the harsh texture for the smooth feel of muscle. I can't wait to feel the real thing one day. I know he can't wait to feel me either. I'm not sure he can see me on the train, but I know he can sense my presence. Why else would he come out here into his garden every morning if not to see me? Morning, 19th October 2022. My alarm pounds at my ears, demanding my attention. I lay flat on my back, staring up at the dull white ceiling. My eyes catch a money spider dangling from a single line of silk. I ignore my alarm. It can screech at me all it likes. This arachnid is far too interesting to ignore. I pull myself out of my sheets and stand up on my mattress, my bare feet sinking into the memory foam. On any other day, I'd want it to swallow me up, but today, I don't know. I feel more alive than I have in weeks. I put my face right up to the spider, admiring its 8 minuscule legs, pulling its handiwork behind it. How is it fair that such a little thing can make the most beautiful art using nothing but its own body, and I can't even use a pencil right? Rain? Mum bursts into my room, her hair unbrushed, blue dressing gown barely tied up. She's come straight from bed. Turn off your bleeding alarm, it's doing my head in, and get a move on or you're going to miss your train. Why are you standing on your bed? I point to the spider in front of me, but it's gone. You know what? I don't care. Just pull yourself together. She leaves in a huff, leaving my door wide open. She knows I hate that. It takes me just under 10 minutes to get ready. I only needed to throw yesterday's clothes on and grab my bag. Before I know it, I'm back in carriage 4 waiting for my Jessie. Perhaps it was a mistake letting my alarm continue this morning, because I now have a splitting headache. I ruffle through my bag and find some painkillers. I take 2 with a swig of the energy drink I picked up on the platform, grab my sketchbook, then wait. And wait. And wait. And wait. It takes forever before we get to Jessie's house, my fingers gripping my pencil until they turn red. And then, just like that, his house passes, and my Jessie is nowhere to be seen. Midday, 19th October 2022. I tap my card on the reader and lug my tray over to an empty table in the far corner of the room. I twirl my spaghetti around my fork, but don't look at it. Instead, my thoughts go to Jessie. What could he possibly do that's so important not to see me? He comes out every day without fail. Why not today? Maybe he overslept or slept through his alarm. No, that can't be right. My Jessie is punctual. He has a routine and he sticks to it. He's always been reliable like that. Rain? I stare at the pasta in awe. Did it just speak to me? Rain, darling, is everything okay? I look up to see Cam giving me an unwanted sympathetic smile. I'm fine. I lie, as she takes the seat opposite me. reaches into her handbag and pulls out a plastic pot full of homemade chicken biryani and something wrapped in tinfoil that's sitting on top. It smells delicious, but that doesn't mean I want anything near me. There is only one thing I want right now. Are you sure? I could sense you moping from the till. What's wrong? She pops off the lid to the container, allowing the full force of the smell to escape. My stomach growls in response. Have you eaten today? She asks as she's unwrapping the foil, revealing a large naan. She tears a piece off, folds it in her fingers, and uses it to scoop up some biryani. She whispers, Bismillah, before placing it in her mouth. I had an energy drink, I tell her, looking down at my food, which pales in comparison to hers. She frowns as she chews, swallows, and then stares at me, gauging what to say next. I'll eat my pasta, don't worry. Good. Perhaps some food will help you raise your spirits. Have you thought any more about what we talked about yesterday? She asks as she goes in for another scoop. Huh? Is all I can muster as I watch my spaghetti slide off my fork. About spending some time with your sister? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this supposed to be lunchtime, not another session? She can't be serious. You should go see her. She hovers her food before her lips. See him? My voice betrays me. I mean her. See her? I feel the imaginary light bulb glow above my head. You're absolutely right. I'll go this evening. I plunge my fork back into my spaghetti and start lapping it up. I need all the energy I can get if I'm going to visit Jessie after college. Evening, 19th October 2022. I stand at the end of the street staring at his house. It's dark, the only light from the street lamps and the moon. It feels surreal standing here, like my soul has left my body behind on the train. I clutch the strap of my satchel to tether myself back to the physical world and start walking towards the house. My attention is focused solely on that. As my feet carry me forwards, I feel a chill shoot up my spine as I pass my dad's. But the discomfort only lasts a moment before I reach Jessie's gate. I place my hand against the rough wood. It's a nice neighbourhood, almost pristine, but you wouldn't be able to tell by how old and worn out the gate is. I take a deep breath before pushing it open, just enough to squeeze through. It was unlocked. I enter the garden and the first thing that catches my eye is the train track in the distance. I carefully make my way over to the spot he's always in and watch as the train rushes by. I couldn't see anyone through the windows, but it's probably just a dim light. I'm sure you can see clearer in the morning. I look down to my right to the outline of a glass table. An old plastic white chair sits at it, an ashtray full of butts on top. They must be from guests Jessie has. He'd never smoke. He's far too health conscious for that. I turn around to take a look at his back door. To my surprise, it's left ajar. The hairs on the back of my neck stick up as I contemplate what to do. Do I go in and risk being seen, or do I turn back? Well, there's no time to change my mind now that I'm here. I slide it open and step in. It's a humble kitchen, from what I can make out in the dark, but no Jessie to be seen, so I walk straight through, taking notes of every step. I don't want to take him by surprise. I enter the hallway and look around for where to go next. I'm drawn to an open door on my left and head inside. Jessie? I call out. It's only 5. I see no reason for him not to be here. I step forwards and my foot brushes against something solid. I realise I've got to take my shoes off before entering. That's so rude of me. I reach down for my shoe and bare leg enters my view. I look around for a light switch and find one next to the door. I entered and flick it on. There he is. My Jessie sprawled out on the floor, still and quiet, caked in dry blood and covered in bluish bruises, wearing his olive green PJ bottoms for me like yesterday. I crouch down beside him and trace my finger along the outline of his face, making sure I don't contaminate it. Seeing him like this, broken and abused, it breaks my heart. I fight back the tears as I sit with him for a long moment and try to remember the breathing exercises Cam taught me. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Once my mind becomes clearer, I get up off the floor, take a seat on the nearest sofa and pull out my sketchbook. I sketch his body the way I see it. It's not exactly what I see on the train. A little more bloated, skin slightly paler, but close enough. His face is a bloody mess, puffed up, torn skin with nasty gashes, black blood seeping from his nostril. It's horrifying and heartbreaking, and yet somehow perfection. This is my Jessie, the way I was always supposed to find him. I sketch him for a good few minutes and place down my masterpiece. Satisfied I've captured him perfectly, I write my Jessie in the top left-hand corner close to his face and go to sign my name, but I hear footsteps coming down the hall. Marcus, a familiar voice calls. My stepmother. Why is she here? Who's Marcus? I grab my satchel and rush towards the open dining room attached to the living room. There's an open door off to the side that leads back into the kitchen, so I take cover in there. Marcus! Oh my God! Stepmother cries out. What has he done to you? I dash back out the back door as I step into the cold. I'm greeted by a stroller. My stepsister, sleeping inside. I reach in and pick her up. She opens her bright blue eyes for me. Rain? The voice of our dad approaches.